Our first question is sugar addictive? Oh my goodness, yes. Irrevocably, yes. Second question, is sugar fattening? Most people will swear to it. Therefore, number 3, sugar should make you fat, right? Nope. Sugar might make you a little chubby, might even make you a little fat, but it will not make you obese. In this video, we'll examine, did your sugar addiction make you obese? Can your sugar addiction keep you obese? And 3, what can you do about your sugar addiction? We'll get into all of these, but first, let me introduce myself. Hi, I'm Jason Stanley, a social research scientist focusing on field research and clinical trials on obesity. I'm here to help you understand and heal that unrelenting urge to eat when you're not hungry and continue eating way past when you're full. We call that urge the food monster. My job is giving you freedom from your food monster. Now back to today's video. Is sugar addiction real? Oh, yes, sugar addiction is real. It's very real. It's even more addictive than cocaine. Some studies say more addictive than heroin and amphetamines as well as cocaines. But before we dig into that kind of detail stuff, I want to make a point here. Early on in this channel, I promised you where I could, I would not hide behind bunches of research science and facts and statistics. Instead, I will, as frequently as I possibly can, will use just good, solid reasoning that you and I can share to make the point. I also said sometimes gut feelings are not enough. Logic is not enough. We do need the supporting science. It's just necessary to tell the whole story. Now, your gut feeling tells you that sugar is addicting. You know it's damn near impossible to give up sugar. That sweet tooth just won't let go. And it turns out that the science 100% backs up your gut. So just a touch, because we can't do these experiments, nobody can do these experiments on people, they do it on rats. So there's a PubMed article that shows rats prefer sugar over cocaine. Its intense sweetness surpasses cocaine reward. That's the name of it. The link is in the description. And I'm going to read a piece out of their conclusions. Our findings clearly demonstrate that intense sweetness can surpass cocaine reward, even in drug-sensitized and addicted individuals. Another article, also on PubMed, sugar now or cocaine later. And I've excerpted a piece because of the way the language is. It's kind of hard to get a hold of. So I've taken pieces and kind of made it sense. But if you go and read the article, you'll agree how this comes together. These studies consistently show that most rats prefer the non-drug reward, and they're talking about sweetened water, over cocaine and over heroin or methamphetamines. However, there's a big spoiler alert, number 1. Your sugar addiction won't make you obese. So the question is sugar fattening? Well, duh, it is, or is it? You see, I'm just going to make up a fun number, 99.999% of normal weight Americans eat some sugar. It's in everything. So whether they're addicted or not, they're eating sugar. And if sugar was that fattening, they wouldn't be that normal weight. So let's just look at some of that. I say everybody's eating sugar. Well, in today's world, I believe it's true. A McDonald's hamburger has sugar in the bun. Oh, and the sauce is like the number 2 ingredient is sugar. What about the meat? Does meat have sugar in it? Well, I'm recording this while I'm in the Philippines right now. And one of my favorite foods here is to go down to the barbecue. And it's on a rotisserie, so it's not cooked in anything other than just the charcoal, right? Wrong, because they soak the physical chicken in sugar water before they put it on their rotisserie. That doesn't count the sauce or things that they put on the outside, but the chicken itself is soaked in sugar water. So, okay, but that's the Philippines, right? How about in our own homes here in America? Okay, so I just went to the cupboard and looked around, and I found this. Now, this is probably not in everybody's cupboard, but it's an American product. It's sold on American shelves in American grocery stores. And I had a lot of this when I was growing up. And yep, sugar is one of the ingredients. How about Vienna sausage? That's a favorite, lunchtime favorite, snack time favorite. Here's the Vienna sausage. And oh, yeah, sugar is in the ingredients. Depending on what part of the country you're from, you may have corned beef hash with your breakfast. We don't make our own corned beef hash anymore. We buy it in a can. And oh, there it is. Sugar is in the ingredients. So we say sugar's in everything. But my point is, if sugar's in everything, why isn't everybody fat? Now, let me take this out to the extreme. In Vietnam, sugar sweetened white milk, not chocolate milk, sugar sweetened white milk outsells non sweetened regular milk 2-to-1. Yet, Vietnam has the lowest rate of obesity in the world. Let's come back home. Just trying to logically make the point that if sugar was truly as fattening as we think it is, and especially if you are a sugar addict, you would become naturally obese. I've talked about this in one other video before. Imagine or remember you're at the gas station and you're filling up your tank, and somebody walks out the front door of the convenience store. And that person has a real Coke in one hand and a huge, one of those really big candy bars in the other. And they're a walking toothpick. They're skinny. They're not just thin, they're skinny. You know, these are the people who we love to hate, right? Because there they are. They're eating all this sweet candy and stuff, but they're still a toothpick. Now, when you look at that, say, wait a minute, if they're eating sugar and then on top of sugar on top of sugar, the sugar can't be the underlying cause of obesity across the board. Also, there are those few people, they're a very small number, but that are absolutely sugar-free and obese. So, it's not the cause of obesity. That's just something we can logically see. You can look around in your real world experience. Your gut tells you that sugar is addictive, and the science backs that up. Also, your intellect, just looking around at your real world experience, especially those people who are normal weight, eating a lot or some sugar, and people who are actually skinny, who are clearly addicted to sugar. So does sugar have an impact? Well, yes, again, duh, and this time I actually mean it. Because we know that chocolate cake is more fattening than steak or salad. The science is clear on how sugar and carbs are more fattening than fats. That science is rock solid, but we're not going to dig into the science here today. That's for another video. Let's just stick with your own reasoning and real world experience. Now, you watch normal weight people eat cake and stay thin, but it seems to you, you just have to take a tiny bite, almost just breathe, just smell the cake, and you gain weight. That's not fair, right? It just doesn't feel fair. Well, most of the time, actually, it's true that you can't eat the amount of chocolate cake they can, and you put on weight. And it just seems wrong. Part of it is because your other food you're eating in other areas, but part of it is that you do gain weight easier from sugar than a normal weight person because your personal biochemistry has been altered through the inflammation of sugar and carb addiction. Yes, that is an inflammatory thing that goes throughout your body, and it causes a condition called hypoinsulinemia, and therefore any sugar or carbs that you eat, which turns into sugar, all of that turns into sugar in your bloodstream, is easier stored for you. Now, I'm not going to go any further into that. Again, that's part for another video. But remember, even though you can just almost smell chocolate cake and gain weight where the normal weight person doesn't, that skinny addict who is a full-blown sugar addict, how do they do it? Well, the bottom line is, and again, logic will dictate this to you, they undereat everything else. How can they do that? Well, they do not stress eat. And we've talked about this many times. You, and I did, you do stress eat, which equals overeating. Sugar just adds to it. Sugar addiction adds to it even more. Obesity, your obesity, my obesity, everybody's obesity, 99 point some ridiculous number, is caused by chronic, compulsive, emotional overeating. There's no way around that. Your sugar addiction combined with your food monster, that's the compulsion, makes you obese. Now, sadly, the bad news here is dissolving your sugar addiction is not enough. It's important. I'm not saying that, but it's not enough. If you are a sugar addict, an obese sugar addict, you also have to heal your emotional compulsive eating. So let's go back to this dichotomy, these two things. What if you heal your food monster, emotional compulsive eating, but not your sugar addiction? Well, here's a big spoiler alert, number 2. Sugar addiction does not cause obesity, but your sugar addiction can keep you obese even after healing your emotional stress eating. How can I say this? Well, I'm at the tag end of a 3-year clinical trial with over 100 obese volunteers. And a number of them, good percentage of them, are sugar addicted. And there's a real clear breakout in the data that the people who healed that food monster and were not sugar addicted, they begin to gradually lose weight. The people who healed their food monster, compulsive overeating, but remained sugar addicted, their weight absolutely remained stable, or in a few cases even would kind of go up and down a little bit. And they were fighting that sugar in the same way that they had fought for diets before. So it was this kind of battle back and forth. And week after week after week, in the conversations we would have, in the Zoom conversations, they would say, yeah, this week I was really good with my sugar. And they would talk about what they ate versus how much they ate. So yeah, it works like this. You get hungry and you have a sugar addiction. So you're hungry and addicted, and that equals eating the wrong food, but not too much of it. However, as I said a moment ago, since your biochemistry has been altered by your long-term obesity, the sugars and carbs you eat now are far more easily stored as fat than those people whose chemistry has not been altered. Again, that science is for a different video, but it's rock solid. And you can actually no longer overeat, but will remain overweight. So that brings us up to the point of today. What can you do about your sugar addiction? Well, let's take a look at that. The good news is sugar addiction, like any addiction, can be permanently put into remission. And there's more good news. The longer it's in remission, the easier it gets. So the longer those pathways in the brain go unused, they gradually give up the chemicals that hold the pathway together. Eventually, most of that pathway effectively just dissolves. It's like when a habit is no longer used for a while, it can be 6 months, a year, whatever the timing is, that habit is completely dissolved. You no longer have any desire to do that. I've talked about neurons that fire together, wire together, meaning that as you repeatedly do a behavior or have an emotional response, other parts of your brain become patterned together. Fortunately, the opposite is true. Those secondary pathways typically dissolve faster and more completely than the primary pathways when they are in disuse. Even more good news, the path to beating your sugar addiction is well understood. Now, I'm not an addiction counselor. My thing is what I talk about over and over on this channel, and that is understanding and healing your compulsive overeating. But there's lots of people that do. Addiction counselors are readily available. Also, you can find people who are certified addiction counselors who specialize in sugar addiction. Now, many of us won't need to go all that way. Many people can handle this on their own. So how do you do that? Well, I went online and did just a real quick YouTube search on sugar addiction. Wow, a bunch of very well qualified and people who've gone through it, videos showed up. So I'm only going to give you two, and I'm going to go through a little bit of what they said. And the links, by the way, are in the description. One, Dr. Mark Hyman, real well-known whole health kind of a guy, or in the title of his YouTube video is, Here's How to Break Your Sugar Addiction in 10 Days. Has over 2 million views, so it's, pretty popular. One, decide to quit sugar. Everything in business over and over, make the decision. That's the number one. So he's right on there. Two, quit cold turkey by stopping all forms of sugar. That's flour, artificial sweeteners, hydrogenated fats, MSG, all processed and pre-packaged foods. What is it? Vienna sausage has sugar in it. Spam, corned beef hash, they all have sugar. So pre-packaged foods, stop all of that. Three, don't drink your calories. Eat them. Eliminate sodas, sports drinks, sweet tea, sweet coffee, and juices. That's all fruit juices except green vegetable juice. Number four, add protein to every meal. Eat the right carbs for 10 days. What does he mean by that? He says non-starchy carb veggies. Okay, asparagus, green beans, mushrooms, onions, zucchini, eggplant. Pretty much your above ground vegetables. 6, good fats at every meal. Avocados, butter, coconut oil, nuts, seeds, and omega-6 from fish. 7, reduce your stress to reduce your cortisol. Number 8, quit gluten and dairy for the 10 days. Not for the rest of your life, even if you have no problem with gluten, just quit it for the 10 days. Number 9, I'm really glad to see he put this in here. Get 8 hours of sleep every night. 8 hours of sleep every night. Even if you don't get enough sleep for one night, you wind up being sleep deprived and hungry all day long. The next video that I looked at was by Dr. Ken Berry, and he set out a much larger number of hints or tips. And so here, number 1, set the goal of 90 days sweet-free. He later softened that up. So look, if you set your goal for 1 day or 3 hours, whatever your goal is, make that goal and then move it to a larger goal. So 3 hours, great, I made it. All right, for the rest of the afternoon, super. Tomorrow, make the goal for a day or 2 and work your way up so that you can get a full 90 days sweet-free. Number 2, call it what it is. I'm a sugar addict. I'm a sweet addict. without acknowledging where you are, it's impossible or virtually impossible to heal. Number 3, Dr. Berry says, do not set multiple goals. Now, that's a really solid bit of advice that goes way, way, way past just sugar addiction. It's in pretty much all of your goal setting. So don't add, I'm going to stop drinking, or I will start exercising while you are working on your sugar addiction goal. Even if healing your sugar addiction takes 6 months, 9 months, a year, don't set yourself up by failure by overloading. Focus on that one goal. Master that one goal, and you'll be in much better shape to tackle the next one. Number 4, eat real whole, and then he says, 1 ingredient meats and veggies. Something that you can recognize exactly what it is as it's sitting there, and you don't have to read any label to understand what's in it. Number 5, clean out the kitchen. Your desk drawer, the refrigerator, your bedroom closet, your purse, your glove compartment in your car. Clean all of the sweets out of all of those places. Number 6, an interesting thing that I know works, take a pinch of salt, put it on your tongue. That will often, in the moment, reduce a sugar craving. Number 7, melt a pat of butter, not margarine, but butter, real butter. Melt a pat of butter on your tongue. If you use margarine, that kicks up the sugar craving, where butter, because of the real fats in it, pulls it down. Number 8, drink Ketorade. Yes, I said that right, Ketorade. And that's something that Dr. Berry has on his website or on his YouTube video. He has the recipe for free for this. And it provides electrolytes and keeps your hands busy. So mind your minerals is number 9. Now, we often overlook our minerals. Sweet cravings are very frequently mineral deficiency. They just manifest to us as a sweet craving. Avoid all, capital letters, A-L-L, all sweeteners. Avoid all sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners, natural sweeteners, non-sugar sweeteners, they actually are more triggering in the brain than regular table sugar. Again, more science for another video. Avoid hunger. So how can you do that? Well, all of your middle of the store snacks are verboten. You can't have them. They are forbidden. So have pre-cooked bacon, boiled eggs, or something full of fat and protein handy at home. A bag of either one in your purse, so you have it at work, etc. So have these little snacks available. Number 12, increase oxytocin and dopamine levels. How do you do this? Well, take a hot shower, go exercise, work out at the gym, take an outdoors walk, meditation. Here's one that's my favorite. Giving and getting a big hug. Kissing. Talking to a good friend. All of these things increase your oxytocin, the love hormone, and dopamine, the joy hormone, and they help you steer away from the cravings. Hand-to-mouth component, toothpicks. Smokers will often use a straw, but in our case, a toothpick or non-sweet snacks, something that has this kind of back to that ritual. Number 14, this is not a hint, but a problem area. Pills and sprays. You see these on the internet, and they're designed or they're sold with the ability to turn off your ability to taste and or to absorb sugar. All of them are a gimmick. They don't work. Don't waste your time, your money, and most importantly, don't waste your emotional buy-in on these things that don't work. They will depress you. Number 15, Medications that cause sweet cravings. Now, you have to consult your doctor on this, but a few that Dr. Berry talked about was prednisone and essentially all other steroids, many SSRI drugs for depression, tricyclic antidepressants. That's another. MAO-1 or MAO inhibitors. All of these drugs can and often do cause cravings for sweets. Number 16, which I really thought this is great. Get help from addiction specialist if you fail on this on your own, especially if you fail several times. Get help. Number 17, great advice here. Forgive yourself for your past transgressions. Forgive yourself for all the times you gave in. Forgive yourself. Remember, obesity is not your fault. It's because of a compulsion that resides in the physical brain. It's not because you're weak or weak-willed. Obesity and emotional overeating is not your fault. So forgive yourself when you not only overate, but you went and had that chocolate cake you promised you would not. And forgive yourself if you say, yeah, I'm going to do this, and it doesn't work. You have to understand that most people who are dealing with and healing their addictions, such as alcohol or smoking or even the harder drugs, have failed many attempts before they are successful. So don't quit, forgive, and try again. Sugar addiction is the second double whammy of addiction and compulsion. Now, you must heal both to lose the weight and keep it off. See, you can lose the weight 1,000 different ways, but you have to do both. You have to heal your addiction and heal your compulsion to lose the weight and keep it off. Now, I can help you heal your emotional compulsive overeating. That's what I do. That's what's so unique about the Food Monster compulsion is I get it. I've done the research and I understand it, and I can and am delighted to help you. On the other side of this particular two-sided coin, which are both critical, there are many qualified addiction counselors who can help you with your sugar addiction. So until the next time, thank you for watching.